Stop! We have something to say!" one of the 7-year-old twins shouted, her voice echoing through the luxurious dining room. The Christmas party froze instantly. Their wealthy father looked confused, but the new stepmother's face turned pale with terror. The girl's mother had been missing for months, and the stepmother had told them she had abandoned them, but the twins had just found their mother's old phone. What that cruel woman didn't know was that the phone contained a video that would expose her and destroy her life in front of the entire family. But before we dive into the full story, let me know where you're watching from and what time it is. Now, subscribe to the channel and let's get started. "Mommy would never leave without saying goodbye," Chloe Thompson said, her blue eyes flashing with certainty as she sat cross-legged on her bed. "She promised us she would always be here for our birthday." Her identical twin sister Zoe nodded, carefully turning the pages of their family photo album. "It doesn't make sense. Look how happy she was at Christmas last year." The two 7-year-old girls leaned over the album, their matching blonde hair falling forward. The photo showed Mary Thompson smiling between her daughters in front of a Christmas tree, all three wearing matching red sweaters. "Dad says she needed time to herself," Zoe said quietly, adjusting her glasses. "But Mom would never miss our birthday. Not ever." It had been 6 months since their mother disappeared from their Pinecrest, Connecticut home. 6 months of their father Robert telling them that their mother had left a brief note saying goodbye. 6 months of whispers from classmates and pitying looks from teachers. "I heard Mrs. Peterson tell another teacher that we were that poor abandoned family," Zoe said, her perfect memory recalling the exact words. "I don't like that word. Abandoned." Chloe jumped off the bed, unable to sit still any longer. "We're not abandoned. Dad is still here." "But he's never really here," Zoe pointed out. "He comes home after we're asleep most nights." The twins' bedroom was large and comfortable, with 2 identical beds covered in colorful quilts their mother had made. One side of the room was messier, with sports equipment and half-finished craft projects scattered around, Chloe's territory. Zoe's side was organized, with books arranged by color and subject and a desk where she worked on her detailed drawings. A soft knock interrupted their conversation. Mrs. Eleanor Jenkins, their housekeeper, peeked in. "Girls, your father just called. He'll be home in 20 minutes and he's bringing a guest for dinner." "A guest?" the twins asked simultaneously. Mrs. Jenkins nodded, her kind face showing concern. "A lady friend," he said. "I've set the dining room table." After Mrs. Jenkins left, the twins exchanged glances. They didn't need words to communicate their surprise. Their father rarely brought anyone home. "We should change clothes," Zoe suggested practically. "First impressions are important." 30 minutes later, the twins sat at the large dining room table wearing matching blue dresses. They could hear their father's voice in the foyer, along with a woman's laugh that sounded like tinkling bells. "Girls," Robert Thompson said as he entered, still wearing his work suit, "I want you to meet someone special. This is Serena Blackwood." The woman who walked in behind their father was tall and beautiful. Her dark hair was perfectly styled, her makeup flawless, and her cream-colored dress looked expensive. She smiled widely, showing perfect white teeth. "Hello, darlings," Serena exclaimed, stepping forward. "Your father has told me so much about you. You must be Chloe, and you're Zoe, right? What adorable little angels." The twins glanced at each other. Their father had never been able to tell them apart so easily. "How did you know which one is which?" Chloe asked bluntly. Serena laughed that bell-like laugh again. "Your father described you perfectly. Chloe with the adventurous spirit and Zoe with the thoughtful eyes." Robert beamed at Serena. "Amazing, isn't she? Serena and I have been seeing each other for a few weeks now, and I wanted you girls to meet her." During dinner, the twins watched Serena carefully. She asked many questions about their house, their father's work at Morgan Stanley, and the valuable paintings on the walls. Whenever Robert looked away, her smile disappeared completely. only to return instantly when his attention came back. "Oops!" Chloe said as she knocked over her water glass, sending liquid across the table. For a split second, Serena's face changed, her eyes flashing with anger. Then, just as quickly, she was helping to clean up, her voice sweet as she said, "Don't worry, sweetie. Accidents happen." But the twins had seen the flash of rage. After dinner, Robert sent the twins upstairs to get ready for bed. "I'll be up to say goodnight in a little while," he promised. Instead of going to their room, the twins crept halfway down the staircase and listened to the adults talking in the living room. "They're beautiful girls, Robert," Serena was saying. "They just need a woman's influence again. They seem a little undisciplined." "Mary was always better with them than I am," Robert admitted. "I work so much, and since she left—" "Well, they have me now," Serena said firmly, "and I think we should discuss our future together." The twins exchanged worried looks and crept back upstairs. In their bedroom, Zoe pulled out her journal, where she recorded important observations. "I don't like her," she whispered. "Me neither," Chloe agreed. "Did you see how she looked at Dad's paintings? Like she was counting money. And she only pretends to be nice when Dad is watching," Zoe added, writing this down. Why would Dad date someone like her? Chloe wondered, flopping onto her bed. "He's lonely," Zoe said simply. "Adults do strange things when they're lonely." For the next 3 weeks, Serena visited often. Each time she brought small gifts for the twins. Hair accessories they would never wear, books too young for their reading level, or clothes in styles they disliked. Each time, she was perfect when Robert was watching and cold when he wasn't. One evening, the twins found a drawer in the hallway cabinet filled with their mother's belongings. Robert had packed away her jewelry box, favorite scarf, and several framed photos. "Why would he hide Mom's things?" Chloe asked, holding a silver bracelet she remembered her mother wearing every day. "Maybe Serena asked him to," Zoe suggested, her voice sad. 3 weeks after Serena's first visit, Robert called the twins down for breakfast on a Saturday morning. They found him standing in the kitchen next to Serena, both smiling widely. Mrs. Jenkins was at the stove, her back turned, shoulders tense. "Girls, we have wonderful news," Robert announced. Serena held out her left hand, displaying an enormous diamond ring that caught the morning light. "Your father and I are getting married," she exclaimed. "Isn't that exciting? I'm going to be your new mother." The twins stood frozen, identical expressions of shock on their faces. "But it's only been 3 weeks," Zoe said finally. "When you know," Robert replied, putting his arm around Serena. "We're thinking of a ceremony next month, very small and private." Serena leaned down toward the twins, her diamond ring glittering. As she embraced them, she whispered just quietly enough that only they could hear. "Things are going to be very different around here now that I'm in charge." The twins felt identical shivers run down their spines as they looked up at their father's happy, oblivious face and Serena's cold, calculating eyes. The twins stood frozen in the kitchen as their father beamed at his new fiancée. Serena's whispered threat still rang in their ears while she straightened up and returned to Robert's side. "The wedding will be in 3 weeks," Robert announced, checking his watch. "Just a small ceremony. I've already spoken to Reverend Williams at Pinecrest Community Church." 3 weeks? Zoe asked quietly. "That's very fast." Robert ran a hand through his hair. "Well, when you find happiness again, why wait? Now I need to get to the office for a few hours. You girls be good for Serena." After Robert left, Serena's smile vanished. She studied the twins with cold eyes. "Let's be clear about something," she said. "Your father deserves happiness after your mother abandoned him. I am going to give him that happiness. You two will not interfere." "Our mom didn't abandon us," Chloe said, her small hands forming fists. "She would never leave without saying goodbye." Serena laughed, the sound nothing like the sweet tinkling bells she used around their father. "Your mother is gone. Get used to it. Now we need to discuss the wedding. You'll be flower girls. I've already ordered your dresses." 3 weeks later, the twins stood uncomfortably in identical pink dresses with scratchy lace collars. The Pinecrest Country Club ballroom was filled with 40 guests, mostly Robert's colleagues from Morgan Stanley and Serena's fashionable friends. "Stop fidgeting," Serena hissed as they waited to walk down the aisle. "And smile. Everyone is watching." Zoe noticed two of Serena's friends whispering as they looked at the twins. 3 months after his wife disappears? How tasteless, one woman said behind her hand. "I heard the wife ran off with her yoga instructor," the other replied. "Left those poor identical girls behind." Zoe looked at Chloe, knowing her sister had heard too. Their mother didn't even do yoga. The wedding passed in a blur of forced smiles and uncomfortable shoes. By evening, Serena Blackwood had become Serena Thompson, and the twins had a stepmother. The next morning, large moving trucks arrived at the Thompson house. Men in uniforms carried in new furniture while others removed pieces the twins had grown up with. "Mom's reading chair!" Chloe cried as workers carried the blue armchair toward the truck. "Dad, they're taking Mom's chair!" Robert looked uncomfortable but put his arm around Serena. "Serena wants to make the house her own, sweetheart. It's only fair." "Robert, the movers need to know about the dining room set," Serena said, pulling him away from the twins. Mrs. Jenkins found the girls in the living room, watching helplessly as workers removed family photos from the walls. "Mrs. Jenkins, they're taking everything that reminds us of Mom," Zoe said, tears rolling down her face. The housekeeper squeezed their shoulders. "I know, sweetie. I don't understand what your father is thinking." She lowered her voice. "I saved some of your mother's things in my quarters. We can look at them together sometimes." By the end of the day, the house looked completely different. Modern furniture replaced the warm, comfortable pieces Mary had chosen. Large portraits of Serena hung where family photos once lived. The twins' bedroom was the only space left untouched. "At least we still have our room," Chloe said as they got ready for bed that night. "For now," Zoe replied, writing in her journal. "I heard Serena telling Dad she wants to redo those childish bedrooms." The next few weeks established a clear pattern. When Robert was home, Serena was charming and sweet to the twins. The moment he left for work, she changed completely. "Chloe, stop running in the house!" Serena snapped one morning as Chloe raced down the hallway. The moment Robert appeared, her voice softened. "Darling, Chloe needs to be more careful. She almost knocked over that vase your boss gave us." "She's right, Chloe," Robert said. "Please be more careful." Later, when the twins complained to their father about Serena's behavior, he seemed confused. "She's just trying to make this place feel like her home too," he said, distracted by work papers. "Give her a chance. She loves you girls." Zoe found Mrs. Jenkins in the laundry room. "Dad doesn't believe us about Serena," she said. "He thinks we're making it up." Mrs. Jenkins folded towels with angry movements. "Your father doesn't see what he doesn't want to see. I found the twins crying in their bedroom this morning after that woman criticized their table manners for 20 minutes. "The new rules are impossible," Zoe agreed. "No talking unless spoken to at dinner. No friends visiting without 2 days' notice. No going into the west wing of the house at all." One afternoon, Serena called the twins into the living room. She sat perfectly straight on the new white sofa, holding glossy brochures. "I've been researching schools for you," she said, handing them the materials. "These Swiss boarding schools accept students as young as 8. Your father and I think it would be best for your education." "But we like Pinecrest Elementary," Chloe protested. "All our friends are there." "Your father travels so much for work and I have my charity events," Serena continued as if Chloe hadn't spoken. "We simply don't have time to give you the attention you need." "Dad would never send us away," Zoe said quietly, but her voice held uncertainty. Serena smiled. "Your father agrees with whatever I suggest, dear. You've noticed that, haven't you?" The twins realized with growing alarm that their father was working later than ever, leaving them alone with Serena most evenings. When he was home, he seemed distracted and tired, barely listening to their concerns. One day, As the twins passed Serena's private study, they noticed her quickly hiding papers in a drawer as they appeared. "This area is off limits," she reminded them sharply. "That includes my bedroom closet and this study. Am I clear?" A week later, a heavy snowstorm hit Pinecrest School closed early, and Mrs. Jenkins picked the twins up at noon. They returned to find the house quiet. "Where's Serena?" Chloe asked. "In her study," Mrs. Jenkins replied. "She said not to disturb her." As they passed the study, they heard Serena's voice through the door. "Yes, it's all proceeding as planned," she was saying. "Robert trusts me completely. The accounts will be transferred next week." The twins froze, exchanging glances. Zoe put her finger to her lips, and they listened. "No, those brats are still a problem," Serena continued. "But I've found the perfect boarding school in Switzerland. They'll be gone by February." When the door suddenly opened, the twins tried to look innocent. Serena's eyes narrowed. "What are you doing home?" she demanded, clutching her phone. "Snow day," Chloe explained. "School closed early." Serena studied them suspiciously. "Go to your room and stay there until dinner." That evening, Robert announced his company's annual Christmas party would be held at their home. "It's tradition," he explained. "All my colleagues from Morgan Stanley and their families attend, plus the mayor and other Pinecrest notables." "It's perfect timing," Serena said, her voice enthusiastic. "We can showcase the renovations. I'll handle everything, darling." The next morning, Serena began intense party preparations. She hired decorators, caterers, and additional household staff. The house became a flurry of activity. "The party will be on Christmas Eve," she informed the twins, "which is also your birthday, I believe. You two will need to stay out of the way during preparations." "But we always help decorate for Christmas," Zoe protested. "Not this year," Serena said firmly. "This event is too important for childish decorations. You may attend briefly to greet guests, then return to your room." As Christmas approached, the twins noticed Serena having more private phone conversations. One evening, they pretended to go to bed early but hid behind the staircase instead. They heard Serena in the hallway, her voice angry. "The situation is handled," she hissed into her phone. "No one is looking for her anymore. Robert has moved on, and soon those brats will be at Swiss boarding school. I've worked too hard to let anything ruin this." The twins looked at each other, eyes wide with fear and understanding. "She did something to Mom," Chloe whispered, her voice barely audible. "And now she wants to get rid of us too," Zoe added, clutching her sister's hand. That night, as they huddled together in Zoe's bed, Chloe whispered, "I don't think Mom left us on purpose. I think Serena did something to her, and we need to find out what." Zoe nodded, her mind already forming a plan. "We need to search Dad's office first. Mom might have left evidence there." "When should we start?" Chloe asked. "Tomorrow," Zoe replied. "Dad has that late meeting. It's our only chance to find out what happened to Mom before Serena sends us away forever." The next afternoon, the twins sat cross-legged on their bedroom floor with a blank piece of paper between them. Zoe had drawn a timeline across the page with "Mom disappears" written on the right side. "We need to remember everything that happened before Mom vanished," Zoe said, holding a pencil ready. "Even small things might be important." Chloe closed her eyes. Mom was acting strange that whole week. She kept checking the windows like she was worried someone was watching the house. "She was making a lot of phone calls, too," Zoe added, writing this down. "Remember how she would hang up whenever anyone came into the room?" "And she had that argument with someone," Chloe suddenly remembered. "I saw her outside talking to someone in a black car. She looked really upset." Zoe wrote everything down. "The day before she disappeared, she hugged us extra long at bedtime. She said she loved us more than anything in the world." "That doesn't sound like someone planning to abandon her family," Chloe said. The twins heard the front door close and Robert's voice calling goodbye to Serena. Her heels clicked across the marble floor as she approached their room. "I'm going to my spa appointment," Serena said, opening their door without knocking. "Mrs. Jenkins is downstairs if you need anything. Stay out of trouble." Her eyes narrowed at the paper between them. "What are you working on?" "School project," Chloe said quickly. "About family trees." After Serena left, the twins waited 15 minutes to make sure she was gone. Then they crept downstairs to their father's office. "We have 2 hours before Dad comes home from his meeting," Zoe whispered as she carefully turned the office doorknob. The office was large with dark wood furniture and shelves of financial books. Robert's desk stood by the window, and filing cabinets lined one wall. "You check the desk," Zoe instructed. "I'll look in the filing cabinets." Chloe opened desk drawers while Zoe pulled out the drawer marked Family Documents. Inside were folders with their birth certificates, social security cards, and passports. "Chloe, look," Zoe whispered urgently. "Mom's passport is still here. Why would she leave the country without her passport?" "Maybe she didn't go far?" Chloe suggested, looking up from the desk. "But Dad said she needed time away. People usually travel for that." Zoe continued searching and found a small envelope. "This must be the goodbye note Dad told us about." She carefully removed a single sheet of paper. The note was short. "Robert, I need time to myself. Please don't look for me. Take care of the girls, Mary." Zoe frowned. This doesn't sound like Mom. She pulled a birthday card from her pocket, the last one their mother had given them, with a long handwritten message inside. "Look at the handwriting," Zoe said. "See how Mom makes her Y with a long tail, and her M has a special loop? This note doesn't have those someone copied her handwriting, but not perfectly." "So Mom didn't write the goodbye note?" Chloe asked, her eyes wide. "I don't think so," Zoe said. "And why would she leave her passport behind?" The twins heard the front door open and quickly put everything back. They slipped out of the office just as Mrs. Jenkins came up the hallway. "What are you two doing?" she asked, looking concerned. Zoe pulled the housekeeper into their bedroom and closed the door. "Mrs. Jenkins, we need your help. We think something bad happened to our mom." Mrs. Jenkins sat on Zoe's bed. "I've been worried about that too. Your mother would never leave you girls not willingly." Chloe explained about the passport and the forged note. Mrs. Jenkins nodded gravely. "I never believed that note was real. Your mother told me the day before she disappeared that she was worried about something. She seemed scared." "Do you think Serena had something to do with Mom's disappearance?" Zoe asked. Mrs. Jenkins lowered her voice. "I saw Serena meeting with a man in a black car several times before she started dating your father. The same man comes to the house sometimes when your father is at work." They whispered together in her study. The twins' investigation was interrupted when Serena began restricting their time with Mrs. Jenkins. New rules appeared daily. No talking to the housekeeper except about chores, no entering certain parts of the house, and no using the phone without permission. "She knows we're on to something," Chloe whispered one night. "She's trying to keep us from finding more evidence." The following Monday, Mrs. Jenkins was folding laundry when the twins entered the laundry room. "Girls, help me sort these clothes," she said loudly, then whispered, "Serena's coat is here. Check the pockets quickly." Chloe pulled out Serena's expensive wool coat while Zoe kept watch at the door. Inside an inner pocket, Chloe found a small black phone, not Serena's regular phone that they often saw her using. "A second phone," Zoe whispered. "Write down any numbers in it." Chloe pressed buttons and found the call history. "There's one number that shows up over and over. The contact name is just M." Zoe quickly wrote down the number before Chloe returned the phone to the coat pocket. Just in time, they heard Serena's voice approaching. "The blue dress needs special cleaning," Serena was saying to someone. The twins pretended to be helping Mrs. Jenkins as Serena entered. Her eyes narrowed suspiciously. "What are you doing in here?" "Helping Mrs. Jenkins," Chloe said. "We're learning about laundry for our home economics class." Serena looked unconvinced but grabbed her coat. "I'm going out. Your father will be late again tonight." After she left, The twins and Mrs. Jenkins exchanged relieved glances. "That was close," Mrs. Jenkins said. "Be careful, girls. That woman is dangerous." 2 days later, Robert announced a dinner guest. "My sister-in-law is in town," Serena told the twins with forced sweetness. "Marcus is coming for dinner tonight." The twins froze at the name. M for Marcus? Marcus Blackwood arrived at 7 o'clock. He was tall with the same dark hair as Serena, but his eyes were cold and calculating. He barely acknowledged the twins during dinner. When Robert stepped away to take a phone call, Marcus leaned toward Serena. "Everything proceeding on schedule?" he asked quietly. "Perfect timing with Christmas coming," Serena replied. "You know how to reach me on the secure line." The twins exchanged meaningful glances across the table. Marcus must be the M in Serena's secret phone. After dinner, while the adults had coffee in the living room, the twins noticed Serena had left her coat on a hallway chair. This was their chance to check the secret phone again. "You keep watch," Zoe whispered to Chloe. "I'll check the phone." Zoe slipped her hand into the coat pocket but found it empty. She checked the other pocket. Nothing. Where was the phone? "Someone's coming!" Chloe hissed. Zoe ducked behind the large curtains just as Serena entered the hallway. Serena went straight to her coat, reached into a hidden inner pocket the twins hadn't noticed before, and pulled out the black phone. She checked something on it, then put it back. After Serena returned to the living room, Zoe emerged from behind the curtains. She moved the phone to a different pocket. She whispered to Chloe, "We need to be more careful." That night, the twins updated their evidence list. Mom's passport still in the house, goodbye note with different handwriting, Serena's secret phone, calls to Marcus, Serena's brother. Mom was scared before she disappeared. Serena met with Marcus before dating Dad. "This is serious," Zoe said. "If Serena did something to Mom, she might do something to Dad, too. Or to us," Chloe added. "She keeps talking about sending us to boarding school." Christmas decorations began appearing around the house as the holiday party approached. Staff members carried in boxes of ornaments and lights, while caterers discussed menu options with Serena. The twins used the increased activity as cover for their investigation, watching Serena and Marcus whenever possible. They noticed Marcus arriving at unusual times when Robert wasn't home. One afternoon, Mrs. Jenkins created a diversion by accidentally spilling cleaning solution in the kitchen. While Serena was distracted, the twins slipped into the hallway by her study, where Marcus and Serena were talking before the spill. "The boarding school applications are ready," they heard Serena saying through the door. "Once Robert signs them, the twins will be gone by February." "Good," Marcus replied. "And the investment accounts?" "He's adding me this week," Serena said. "Everything is going according to plan. Soon we'll be ready for Phase 2. The twins looked at each other with growing horror. Whatever Phase 2 was, they needed to stop it before it was too late. With Christmas just 1 week away, they were running out of time. "We need to see what's in her study," Zoe said as they hurried back to their room. "That's where she keeps all her secrets." "But it's always locked," Chloe pointed out. Zoe pulled out her tablet. "I've been watching YouTube videos on lockpicking. I think I can learn how to do it." "You think you can pick a lock? Like a real detective?" Chloe looked impressed. "I have to try," Zoe said, opening a tutorial video. "Our family depends on it." That night, after everyone went to bed, the twins stayed awake, waiting for the house to fall silent. Zoe had spent hours watching lock-picking tutorials while Chloe kept watch for Serena. "It's midnight," Chloe whispered, looking at the clock. "Dad and Serena should be asleep by now." Zoe nodded, holding up 2 paper clips she had bent into specific shapes. "I practiced on our bathroom door lock. I think I can do it." The girls slipped out of bed, still wearing their clothes instead of pajamas. They crept down the hallway in their socks, testing each floorboard before putting their full weight on it. "Remember?" Zoe whispered. "If we hear anyone, hide behind the big plant in the corner." When they reached Serena's study, Chloe held a small flashlight while Zoe knelt in front of the door. Her hands trembled slightly as she inserted the first paperclip into the lock. "This might take a while," Zoe warned. Minutes passed as Zoe carefully manipulated the makeshift tools. Chloe kept looking down the hallway, jumping at every house creak. "It's not working," Zoe said, frustrated. "Maybe the videos didn't show—" Click. The twins froze, then looked at each other with wide eyes. The lock had opened. "You did it," Chloe whispered. "Shh." Zoe slowly turned the handle and pushed the door open. The study was dark except for moonlight filtering through the curtains. Chloe shined the flashlight around, revealing a large desk, filing cabinets, and bookshelves. "You check the desk," Zoe whispered. "I'll look in the filing cabinet." Chloe opened the top desk drawer. Inside were pens, paper clips, and a small key. "Maybe this opens something important," she said, pocketing the key. The second drawer contained folders labeled with their father's name. Chloe opened the first folder and gasped. "Zoe, look at this. It's Dad's life insurance policy." Zoe joined her, shining the flashlight on the document. $10 million, she read. "Payable to—" She paused. "Payable to Serena Thompson if Dad dies. She's the only beneficiary. We're not even listed." "Why would Dad do that?" Chloe asked. "Maybe he didn't," Zoe suggested. "Maybe Serena changed it somehow." In another folder, they found investment account statements showing millions of dollars. "Look at these notes in the margins," Zoe pointed to Serena's handwriting. "Transfer date. And access codes?" Chloe moved to the filing cabinet Zoe had been checking. In the top drawer, she found colorful brochures. "Alpine Academy in Switzerland, Winterton Hall in Austria." Chloe read the headings. "These are boarding schools." Zoe pulled out an application form. "It's already filled out with my name, Serena, signed as our guardian. The start date is January 15th. "That's 3 weeks from now," Chloe said, her voice rising slightly. Suddenly, they heard footsteps in the hallway. "Someone's coming," Zoe whispered urgently. The footsteps stopped right outside the door. The twins looked around frantically. Chloe grabbed Zoe's arm and pulled her toward a small closet in the corner. They squeezed inside just as the study door opened. Through a tiny crack, they could see Serena enter, wearing a silk robe. She turned on a small lamp and sat at her desk, picking up a phone. The secret phone they'd seen before. She dialed and waited. "Marcus? Yes, it's me." "No. Robert is asleep." She paused. "Yes, once Robert adds me to the investment accounts, we can move forward with phase 2. The twins held their breath, pressing against each other in the tight space. "The twins are becoming a problem," Serena continued. "They keep asking about Mary. I caught them looking through Robert's desk yesterday." Another pause as she listened. "No, he doesn't suspect anything. He's too busy with year-end reports." Serena laughed coldly. "Men are so easy to manipulate when they're lonely." She stood up and walked around the desk. The twins froze as she approached the closet, but she stopped at a small bar cart instead, pouring herself a drink. "The boarding school is all arranged. Once they're gone, we'll have complete control." She sipped her drink. "And once the life insurance policy is updated, we can proceed with the final step." Chloe accidentally shifted, causing a small scraping sound. The twins stopped breathing. Serena paused mid-sentence. "I thought I heard something. Let me call you back." She hung up and looked around the room. The twins watched in terror as she walked toward the closet. Just before she reached it, the hallway clock chimed 1 o'clock, startling her. She turned away, finished her drink, and switched off the lamp. "I'm getting paranoid," she muttered to herself, then left the study, closing the door behind her. The twins waited 5 minutes before emerging from the closet. "We have to put everything back exactly how we found it," Zoe whispered. "She can't know we were here." They carefully replaced the folders and closed all the drawers. Then they slipped out, locking the door behind them. Their journey back to their bedroom felt endless. Every shadow seemed to hide Serena waiting to catch them. When they finally closed their bedroom door, they collapsed onto Zoe's bed. "She's planning to hurt Dad," Chloe said, her voice shaking. That's what phase 2 means. And send us away first so we can't stop her, Zoe added. We have to tell Dad tomorrow. The next morning at breakfast, Serena watched the twins suspiciously over her coffee cup. Her eyes narrowed each time they whispered to each other. You two seem tired, she said. Trouble sleeping? Just excited about Christmas, Chloe lied. How sweet, Serena replied, not sounding sweet at all. Robert, didn't you have something to give the girls? Their father looked up from his newspaper. Oh, right. Girls, I signed you up for that Swiss boarding school Serena recommended. You'll start right after New Year's. It's a wonderful opportunity. But Dad, we don't want to go to Switzerland, Zoe protested. It's already decided, Robert said firmly. The applications are submitted. After breakfast, the twins waited until their father went to his office. They knocked on his door, determined to tell him what they'd discovered. Dad, we need to talk to you about Serena, Chloe began. Robert sighed. Not this again. Girls, I know it's hard to accept a new mother figure, but she's not our mother, Zoe interrupted. And we think she's planning something bad. We heard her talking to Marcus about phase 2 and life insurance. You were eavesdropping? Robert frowned. That's very disappointing. Before they could explain further, Serena appeared in the doorway. What are you two doing? She demanded. This looks like snooping to me. We were just talking to Dad, Chloe said defensively. Serena's eyes fell on the desk drawer, which was slightly open. Robert, they're going through your private papers. First my study, now your office. Your study. Robert turned to the twins. Did you go into Serena's private study? We were looking for Christmas presents, Chloe lied quickly. Robert's face hardened. That's enough. You two have been acting out ever since the wedding, and I've been patient. But breaking into private rooms is unacceptable. Your father works too hard to deal with your nonsense, Serena added icily. Don't test my patience. Go to your room, Robert ordered. You're confined there except for meals and school until you learn to respect our privacy. The twins had no choice but to obey. Back in their bedroom, Zoe pulled out her journal. Dad won't listen to us, she said, writing rapidly. We need another plan. An hour later, Mrs. Jenkins knocked softly and entered with a tray of cookies and milk. I heard what happened, she whispered. Serena is telling everyone you tried to steal her jewelry. That's a lie, Chloe exclaimed. We found evidence that she's planning to hurt Dad. Mrs. Jenkins sat on the edge of the bed. I believe you. She's been asking strange questions about your father's finances, and I've seen her meeting with his financial advisors when he's not home. She's gonna do something at the Christmas party, Zoe said. We heard her talking about phase 2 happening soon. The party is in 3 days, Mrs. Jenkins calculated. We need to find more evidence before then. But we're trapped in here, Chloe pointed out. Mrs. Jenkins smiled slightly. Not if I help you. I can create diversions and the party preparations will keep Serena busy. Through the bedroom window, the twins could see workers setting up large Christmas decorations on the front lawn inside. Caterers and decorators moved throughout the house. She can't watch everywhere at once, Zoe realized. With so many people around, we might be able to find more evidence. And we need to figure out what phase 2 is, Chloe added, before it's too late for Dad. The next morning, the house buzzed with activity. Workers carried ladders and boxes of Christmas decorations through the hallways. Caterers unpacked food in the kitchen. The front door opened and closed constantly as party supplies arrived. From their bedroom window, the twins watched a truck deliver an enormous Christmas tree. There must be 20 people in the house right now, Chloe said. This is our chance to look for more evidence. But we're still confined to our room, Zoe reminded her. Their bedroom door opened, and Mrs. Jenkins entered with clean towels. She closed the door behind her and whispered, I have a plan. In 15 minutes, I'll set off the smoke alarm in the kitchen. When everyone is distracted, you can sneak out. Where should we look next? Zoe asked. The master bedroom. Mrs. Jenkins suggested. Serena keeps it locked when she's not there, but she'll be busy dealing with the caterers all morning. Exactly 15 minutes later, the smoke alarm blared through the house. The twins heard people shouting and running toward the kitchen. "Now," Chloe said, opening their door carefully. They slipped into the hallway and ran in the opposite direction from the commotion. The master bedroom door was unlocked. Serena must have left in a hurry when the alarm sounded. "We don't have much time," Zoe warned as they entered. The bedroom had changed dramatically since Serena moved in. Their mother's feminine touches were gone, replaced by cold, expensive furniture and large mirrors. "Check the nightstands," Chloe suggested. "I'll look in the bathroom." "No, the closet," Zoe decided. Remember how she listed it as off-limits? There must be a reason. The walk-in closet was massive, filled with Serena's designer clothes and shoes. The twins searched quickly, pushing aside hanging garments and checking drawer compartments. "Nothing," Chloe said, frustrated. "Just clothes and jewelry." Zoe examined the wall panels. "Wait, look at this section. The wood pattern doesn't match perfectly." She pressed the panel, and to their surprise, it moved slightly. Pushing harder, the panel slid sideways, revealing a small hidden compartment. "A secret hiding place," Chloe whispered. Inside the compartment was a locked metal box. Chloe pulled it out while Zoe kept watch at the closet door. "Can you pick this lock?" Chloe asked, handing the box to her sister. Zoe examined it. "It's more complicated than a door lock." She pulled out her makeshift lock picks from her pocket. "But I'll try." While Zoe worked on the lock, Chloe kept checking her watch. "We've been here 5 minutes already, hurry!" Zoe's hands trembled as she manipulated the lockpicks. "Almost got it." Click. The box opened to reveal shocking contents: their mother's cell phone, her wedding ring, which Robert claimed she had taken with her, and a USB drive. "Mom's phone!" Chloe gasped. "And her ring! Dad said she took it when she left." "He probably believed what Serena told him," Zoe said, picking up the phone. "Is there any battery left?" She pressed the power button, and to their relief, the phone lit up, showing a critical battery level of just 5%. "We don't have much time before it dies," Zoe said, quickly navigating through the phone. "Look for anything unusual." Chloe pointed to an icon, "Video recordings." "That one is dated the day before Mom disappeared." Zoe tapped the video, and their mother's face appeared on screen. They gasped. Mary Thompson looked terrified. Her face had a bruise on one cheek, and her eyes were red from crying. "If anything happens to me," their mother whispered in the video, "Serena Blackwood is responsible. She's been threatening me for weeks. She's working with her brother Marcus to take Robert's money. They drugged me once already. I think they're planning to make me disappear so she can marry Robert. I've hidden copies of everything I've found about their past scams. Look in the..." The video cut off as the phone battery died. "Mom was trying to tell us where she hid evidence," Zoe said, her voice shaking. "We need to save this video," Chloe urged. "If the phone's dead, we can't show it to Dad or the police." Zoe picked up the USB drive. "Maybe we can copy it to this." She connected the USB drive to the phone using a small adapter she found in the box. Working quickly, she managed to copy the video file before the phone died completely. "We have to hide this somewhere safe," Zoe said, holding up the USB drive. "Somewhere Serena won't look." "My teddy bear," Chloe suggested. "We can cut a small hole in the seam and hide it inside the stuffing." They heard footsteps approaching in the hallway. "Someone's coming," Zoe whispered. "We need to go." They quickly replaced the phone and wedding ring in the box, closed it, and slid it back into the hidden compartment. The wall panel clicked shut just as the bedroom door opened. The twins froze, then ran toward the bathroom door, hoping to hide there. But they were too late. "What are you doing in my bedroom?" Serena stood in the doorway, her face cold with anger. "We were looking for Dad," Chloe improvised. "Liar!" Serena hissed. She looked around the room suspiciously. "What did you touch? What did you take?" "Nothing," Zoe insisted. "We just came in." Serena's eyes narrowed as she noticed the closet door slightly ajar. She walked quickly to the closet and examined the wall panel. Finding it secure, she turned back to the twins. "Back to your room, now." The twins hurried past her, Zoe clutching the USB drive tightly in her palm. They nearly made it to their bedroom when Serena called out, "Wait!" They turned to see her holding their mother's phone. "Looking for this?" she asked with a cold smile. "I knew you little brats would cause trouble." The twins' hearts sank. Serena had checked the hidden compartment and found the box open. "You saw the video, didn't you?" Serena's voice was dangerously quiet. "Your mother always was too smart for her own good. That's why she had to go away." "What did you do to her?" Chloe demanded. "That's not your concern," Serena said. "What matters now is what happens to you two." She marched them back to their bedroom and pushed them inside. Then she began removing everything: books, art supplies, even their clock. "You won't be attending the Christmas party," she announced. "In fact, you won't be celebrating Christmas or your birthday at all. I've told the staff you're being punished for stealing." "Our dad won't let you do this," Zoe said bravely. Serena laughed. "Your father believes everything I tell him. By tomorrow night, I'll have control of all his accounts." She leaned closer, her voice menacing. "And after the party tomorrow night, your father will have a tragic accident, and you two will be on your way to Switzerland. Permanently." After Serena left, locking the door behind her, the twins sat in shocked silence. "She admitted it," Zoe whispered finally. "She's going to hurt Dad tomorrow night." "At least we still have this," Chloe said as Zoe revealed the USB drive still clutched in her hand. "We saved Mom's video." Zoe took out her teddy bear and carefully cut a small opening in the seam on the bottom. She pushed the USB drive deep inside the stuffing and sewed the opening closed with thread from her pillowcase. "Now we need to get out of here," Chloe said, examining the locked door. "But Serena took our paper clips. We can't pick the lock." Zoe looked around their stripped room. "We still have the candy canes Mrs. Jenkins brought yesterday for our Christmas crafts. We can straighten them to make new lock picks." "Will that work?" Chloe asked doubtfully. "We have to try," Zoe said, retrieving the candy canes from under her mattress. "It's our only hope to save Dad." They worked silently, straightening the candy canes in the bathroom sink's hot water. Tomorrow was Christmas Eve, their birthday and the night of the party. They had less than 24 hours to escape their room, find help, and stop Serena's deadly plan. Morning sunlight filtered through the curtains as the twins examined their makeshift lockpicks. They had spent hours straightening the candy canes in hot water and shaping them into the right tools. "Let me try again," Zoe said, kneeling by the door. She carefully inserted the candy cane pick into the lock while Chloe watched. After 20 minutes of failed attempts, Zoe's arms ached. "This is harder than using metal picks." "Keep trying," Chloe encouraged. "Our Dad's life depends on it." Finally, after nearly an hour, they heard a soft click. "I did it," Zoe whispered excitedly. Chloe put her ear to the door. "Wait. I hear someone in the hallway." They opened the door just a crack and saw Marcus standing at the end of the hall, arms crossed. He was positioned where he could see their bedroom door and the staircase. "He's guarding us," Chloe whispered, carefully closing the door again. "Why would Serena post a guard?" Zoe wondered. "She thinks we're trapped." "Maybe she doesn't trust the candy cane lock picks," Chloe joked, trying to lighten the mood. They heard voices outside their door and pressed their ears against it to listen. "The doctor called from Pine Valley," Marcus was saying to Serena. "Mary's starting to remember things. We need to make sure she never leaves that place." The twins exchanged shocked glances. "Mom is alive?" Chloe whispered. "She's at a place called Pine Valley?" "Shh," Zoe cautioned, still listening. "I'll handle it after tonight," Serena replied. "Once Robert is gone, I'll have power of attorney over all Thompson family matters. I can keep her sedated permanently. And the twins? Marcus asked. "The Swiss boarding school paperwork is ready," Serena said. "They'll be on a plane the day after Christmas." The voices moved away down the hallway. The twins stepped back from the door, their minds racing. "Mom is alive," Zoe repeated. "They're keeping her somewhere called Pine Valley." "We have to find her," Chloe said. "But first we need to save Dad." Zoe sat on her bed, thinking. "The Christmas party starts at 6 o'clock tonight. Dad always invites his friend Detective Wilson from the Pinecrest Police Department. If we could show the video to Detective Wilson, he could arrest Serena and Marcus," Chloe exclaimed. "But how do we get out with Marcus guarding the hall?" Zoe wondered. Chloe went to the air vent near the floor and removed the cover. "Remember our old walkie-talkies? I hid them in here last month when Serena started taking our things." She reached into the vent and pulled out 2 plastic walkie-talkies, dusty but intact. She pressed the button on one. "Mrs. Jenkins, can you hear me? This is Chloe. Over." After a moment of static, they heard a faint reply. "Chloe, where did you get a walkie-talkie?" "We hid them," Chloe explained. "Mrs. Jenkins, we're locked in our room with Marcus guarding the hall. We found out Mom is alive. She's being kept at a place called Pine Valley, and Serena is planning to hurt Dad tonight at the party." "Pine Valley," Mrs. Jenkins repeated. "That must be Pine Valley Psychiatric Hospital. It's about 2 hours from here." "Serena's keeping Mom in a psychiatric hospital?" Zoe took the walkie-talkie. "Mrs. Jenkins, we need your help. We have a video of Mom warning about Serena, but we need to show it to Detective Wilson at the party tonight." "I'll help you," Mrs. Jenkins promised. "The party preparations will keep Serena busy. I'll create a diversion to get you out of that room." They spent the next hour developing a plan. Mrs. Jenkins would cause multiple distractions during the party. The twins would split up. Chloe would create additional diversions while Zoe tried to reach Detective Wilson with the USB drive. "How will we recognize Detective Wilson?" Chloe asked. "There will be hundreds of guests." Mrs. Jenkins answered through the walkie-talkie. "Detective Wilson always wears a red Christmas tie to parties. Find the red tie, and you'll find him." As afternoon turned to evening, the sounds of the party preparations grew louder. Delivery trucks arrived, staff called to each other, and music occasionally played as the sound system was tested. The twins prepared for their escape. Zoe carefully removed the USB drive from the teddy bear and secured it in a hidden pocket she had sewn inside her dress. Chloe practiced moving silently across the room, preparing for her role as the distraction creator. "We need to make sure our lockpicks work from both sides of the door," Chloe said, "in case we need to get back in quickly." Zoe tested the candy cane picks on both sides of the door lock. "They work, but we need to be very careful. If they break inside the lock, we're trapped." At 5 o'clock, they heard car doors slamming as the first guests arrived. The party was starting early. "We can't wait any longer," Zoe decided. "Let's call Mrs. Jenkins." Through the walkie-talkie, Mrs. Jenkins confirmed she was ready. "I'll drop a tray near Marcus in 2 minutes when he comes to help. Run for the back stairs, not the main staircase. Serena is greeting guests there." The twins positioned themselves by their door, candy cane lockpick ready. They heard a loud crash and Marcus's surprised voice. "Now!" Zoe whispered, quickly picking the lock. They slipped into the hallway and saw Marcus at the far end, helping Mrs. Jenkins pick up broken glasses. The twins ran in the opposite direction, reaching the back staircase without being seen. "We made it to the stairs," Chloe reported through the walkie-talkie. "Good," Mrs. Jenkins replied. "Serena is in the front hall. Detective Wilson hasn't arrived yet. Hide in the coat closet at the bottom of the back stairs until I tell you he's here." The twins crept down the stairs, careful to stay silent. The sounds of the party, conversation, laughter, music, grew louder. They reached the bottom and slipped into the coat closet as instructed. "What's our next move?" Chloe whispered. "We wait for Detective Wilson," Zoe replied. "Then we split up. You create a distraction in the kitchen while I find him." They waited in the dark closet, listening to guests arrive. After 20 minutes, the walkie-talkie crackled. "Detective Wilson just arrived," Mrs. Jenkins reported. "He's wearing a red tie as expected. He's with your father near the Christmas tree in the main hall. That's our signal, Zoe said. Remember the plan? If anything goes wrong, meet back at this closet. The twins slipped out of the closet and looked at each other one last time before implementing their divide-and-conquer strategy. Be careful, Zoe whispered. You too, Chloe replied. See you on the other side. Chloe headed toward the kitchen while Zoe moved along the edge of the hallway toward the main room. The house was transformed. Christmas decorations hung everywhere, lights twinkled, and well-dressed guests filled every room. As planned, Chloe created her first diversion by accidentally turning on the kitchen sink spray hose, causing several kitchen staff to scramble to control the water. The commotion drew Serena's attention, allowing Zoe to slip unseen into the main hall. Zoe scanned the crowd for a red tie. The main hall was packed with people in fancy clothes, making it difficult to spot anyone specific. Finally, she saw him. Detective James Wilson stood near the giant Christmas tree, talking with her father. His red tie stood out against his dark suit. Just as Zoe started moving toward them, a strong hand gripped her shoulder. There you are, Marcus said, his voice falsely pleasant for the benefit of nearby guests. Your stepmother has been looking everywhere for you. You're supposed to be in bed. Let go of me, Zoe said, trying to pull away. Not happening, Marcus muttered, steering her toward the hall. Serena will deal with you. Zoe's mind raced. She needed to create a scene that would draw attention without revealing their plan too soon. Remembering a trick from a school play, she suddenly gasped and clutched her chest. I can't breathe, she wheezed loudly, bending over. My asthma. Nearby guests turned in concern. An elderly woman approached. Is the child all right? She's fine, Marcus insisted, looking uncomfortable as more people began to notice. Should I call an ambulance? Someone asked. The commotion was working. People were gathering around and Marcus was losing control of the situation. Through the crowd, Zoe saw Detective Wilson look in their direction, his police officer instincts clearly activated by the disturbance. Suddenly, a loud crash came from across the room. Chloe had created her biggest diversion yet. She had bumped into a waiter, causing a tray of champagne glasses to shatter on the marble floor. In the moment of chaos, Zoe wrenched free from Marcus and pushed through the crowd toward Detective Wilson. She was only steps away from him when she felt another hand grab her arm. There you are, you little troublemaker, Serena said through a tight smile. These girls should be in bed, not disrupting our lovely party. Robert, finally noticing the situation, approached with concern on his face. What's going on here? Remember, Zoe whispered as Chloe joined them, having worked her way through the crowd. Detective Wilson always wears a red Christmas tie to the party. Find the red tie, and we find the man who can save Mom and Dad. The crowded party fell silent as attention focused on the unfolding scene. Robert looked at his daughters with confusion. Serena maintained her grip on Zoe's arm while forcing a smile for the guests. Robert, the girls were supposed to stay in their room, Serena explained sweetly. They've been misbehaving all week. Remember the stealing incident? Detective Wilson stepped forward. His tall frame and confident posture immediately commanded respect. Even in the festive setting, his red Christmas tie stood out against his crisp white shirt. Everything okay here? He asked, his trained eyes taking in the scene. Detective Wilson! Chloe exclaimed. Please help us! Serena's smile tightened. James, how nice to see you. The girls are simply overtired. It's past their bedtime on Christmas Eve. They seem upset, Detective Wilson observed calmly. We need to talk to you, Zoe said urgently. In private, it's important. Robert ran his hand through his hair, looking embarrassed. Girls, this is not the time or place. Perhaps we should step into your office, Detective Wilson suggested diplomatically. Clear this up without disrupting your lovely party. Serena's face hardened for a split second before she recovered her pleasant expression. That's really not necessary. I'll just take the girls upstairs. I think a quick conversation might be best, Wilson insisted firmly. His years as a police officer made it difficult for others to refuse his reasonable suggestions. Robert nodded reluctantly. My office is this way. The strange procession moved through the curious guests, Robert leading the way, the twins following closely, Detective Wilson behind them, and Serena trailing with Marcus suddenly appearing at her side. In the quiet of Robert's wood-paneled office, the twins stood together, facing the adults. Now, what's this about? Robert asked, his voice showing impatience. Zoe took a deep breath and pulled the USB drive from her hidden pocket. Her hand trembled as she held it out to Detective Wilson. It's about our mom, she said urgently. She didn't leave us. She's being held somewhere called Pine Valley. Detective Wilson took the USB drive, his expression serious. That's a significant claim, Zoe. They're making this up, Serena interjected smoothly. Children have such active imaginations, especially when they're struggling to accept changes in the family. We're not making it up, Chloe insisted. We found Mom's phone in Serena's secret hiding place. Mom made a video before she disappeared. She said Serena and Marcus threatened her. Detective Wilson turned to Robert. Do you mind if I view what's on this drive? Robert looked increasingly uncomfortable. This is ridiculous. Mary left us. She wrote a note. The note was fake, Zoe interrupted. The handwriting wasn't right. And why would Mom leave without her passport? It's still in your filing cabinet. Detective Wilson walked to Robert's computer. Let's just see what's on here, shall we? It can't hurt to look. Serena stepped forward. This is absurd. Robert, are you really going to let these children disrupt our Christmas party with these wild stories? Let's just see what they have, Robert said, his voice uncertain. Then we can all move on. Detective Wilson plugged the USB drive into the computer. After a few clicks, Mary Thompson's face appeared on the screen. The room fell silent as they watched. If anything happens to me, Mary whispered in the video, her bruised face clearly visible. Serena Blackwood is responsible. She's been threatening me for weeks. She's working with her brother Marcus to take Robert's money. They drugged me once already. I think they're planning to make me disappear so she can marry Robert. I've hidden copies of everything I've found about their past scams. Look in the video cut off. Robert stared at the screen, his face drained of color. Mary, he whispered, reaching toward the frozen image of his wife's bruised face. This is clearly a fake, Serena said quickly. The girls must have created it somehow. That's Mary, Robert said slowly, turning to face Serena. What did you do to my wife? The atmosphere in the room shifted instantly. Serena's charming facade cracked, revealing the cold calculation beneath. Robert, you can't possibly believe this nonsense. She tried one last time. Detective Wilson moved subtly to block the door. Mrs. Thompson, I think we need to continue this conversation at the station. Serena's eyes darted around the room like a trapped animal. In a sudden movement, she grabbed Chloe, pulling the child against her. Stay back, she warned, her voice no longer sweet. I'm leaving now, and she's coming with me. Let her go, Robert demanded, taking a step forward. Stop right there, Serena hissed. One more step and you'll regret it. The door burst open and Marcus entered, looking panicked. Serena, there are police cars outside. He stopped, taking in the tense standoff. Marcus, Detective Wilson said calmly, don't make this worse than it already is. Marcus looked at his sister holding Chloe, then at the detective blocking the door. His loyalty to Serena visibly wavered. It's over, Serena, he said finally. I'm not going down for this. Traitor, Serena spat. Marcus turned to Detective Wilson. I'll tell you where Mary Thompson is. She's at Pine Valley Psychiatric Hospital, registered under the name Jane Smith. I falsified the commitment papers. She's being kept sedated. Robert's face contorted with rage. You kept my wife drugged in a hospital for 6 months? While everyone's attention was on Marcus, Zoe slipped beneath the desk. She reached for the small red button on the wall, the fire alarm. With a sharp push, she activated it. Immediately, piercing alarms blared throughout the house, sprinklers activated in the hallway, sending guests screaming toward the exits. The sudden chaos distracted Serena just long enough for Robert to lunge forward and pull Chloe from her grasp. "Dad!" Chloe cried, throwing her arms around him. Detective Wilson was already on his radio, calling for backup. "This is Detective Wilson requesting immediate assistance at the Thompson residence. 755 Oakwood Drive, suspects in custody for kidnapping and fraud." Through the open office door, the twins could see their Christmas party guests watching in shock as the scene unfolded. Several off-duty police officers who had been attending the party came running to assist. Within minutes, Serena and Marcus were handcuffed and being led through the crowd of stunned onlookers. Serena's perfect makeup was streaked with tears of rage as she was escorted to a police car. Back in the office, Robert knelt before his daughters, his eyes filled with tears. "I'm so sorry," he said, his voice breaking. "I should have known. I should have believed you." "It's okay, Dad," Zoe said softly. "We found Mom." "Pine Valley Psychiatric Hospital," Robert repeated, standing up with renewed purpose. "We need to go there now." Detective Wilson nodded. "I'll drive you. I've already called ahead to the hospital. They're checking their records for a Jane Smith admitted 6 months ago." "Will they release her to us?" Chloe asked worriedly. "I've obtained an emergency court order," Detective Wilson explained, showing them a document on his phone. "Judge Parker owed me a favor. She signed it electronically just now." As they prepared to leave, Mrs. Jenkins rushed in, her face flushed with worry. "Is it true?" she asked. "You found Mary?" Robert nodded, his expression a mix of hope and anguish. "The girls found her. They saved us all." Mrs. Jenkins hugged the twins tightly. "I always knew you two were special. Now go bring your mother home." Outside, police cars lined the driveway with lights flashing. The Christmas party guests had moved to the front lawn, watching in disbelief as Serena and Marcus were placed in separate patrol cars. Detective Wilson led Robert and the twins to his personal car. "It's a 2-hour drive to Pine Valley. We should arrive around midnight." "That's Christmas Day," Chloe realized. "And our birthday." "We're going to bring Mom home for Christmas," Zoe said, a small smile forming on her lips. "Just like we wished." As they drove away from the house, Robert looked back at his daughters with newfound respect and gratitude. "How did you figure it all out?" he asked. "How did you know Serena was behind your mother's disappearance?" Chloe and Zoe exchanged glances. "We just paid attention," Zoe explained. "And we never believed Mom would leave us," Chloe added, not without saying goodbye. The car sped through the night, windshield wipers pushing away gentle snowflakes that had begun to fall. The twins leaned against each other in the back seat, exhausted but determined. "Do you think Mom will recognize us?" Zoe whispered to her sister. "What if they gave her too many drugs?" "She'll know us," Chloe answered confidently. "We're her Christmas miracles, remember?" Ahead of them, the highway stretched dark and empty, leading toward Pine Valley Psychiatric Hospital and the mother they had never stopped searching for. Snow fell gently on the dark highway as Detective Wilson's car drove toward Pine Valley. The dashboard clock showed 11:30 as they passed a sign reading, "Pine Valley, 15 miles." "Almost there," Detective Wilson said, his voice breaking the long silence. In the back seat, Chloe and Zoe tried to stay awake, but the day's events had left them exhausted. Robert sat in the front passenger seat, staring straight ahead, his hands clenched tightly together. "What if she's not there?" he asked quietly. "What if Marcus lied to save himself? The hospital confirmed they have a patient named Jane Smith who was admitted 6 months ago," Detective Wilson reassured him. "The timing matches." The twins leaned against each other, fighting sleep. Chloe nudged Zoe as a large building appeared in the distance, its few lit windows glowing in the darkness. "Is that it?" Chloe whispered. Detective Wilson nodded. "Pine Valley Psychiatric Hospital." As they drove closer, the building looked unwelcoming, a large brick structure surrounded by a tall fence. Despite the Christmas season, no decorations or lights adorned the exterior. It looks scary, Zoe said softly. Don't worry, Robert said, turning to look at his daughters. We're going to bring Mom home. They parked near the entrance, where a sign read, Visitor Hours, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Detective Wilson led the way to the front doors, pressing the night buzzer. After a long wait, a security guard appeared. Visiting hours are over, he said firmly. Detective Wilson showed his badge. I'm Detective James Wilson from Pinecrest Police Department. This is an emergency situation involving a patient wrongfully committed here. The guard reluctantly let them into a small reception area with harsh fluorescent lighting. A tired-looking woman in a blue uniform sat behind a desk labeled Night Administrator. How can I help you? She asked without looking up from her computer. We're here about a patient named Jane Smith, Detective Wilson explained. We have reason to believe she was wrongfully committed under a false identity. Her real name is Mary Thompson. The administrator looked up, frowning. I can't release patient information to non-family members. I'm her husband, Robert said, stepping forward. These are her children. Do you have any proof of that? The administrator asked skeptically. Robert pulled out his phone and showed her family photos of Mary. The administrator shook her head. I'm sorry, but without proper documentation, Detective Wilson placed the court order on the desk. This emergency order signed by Judge Parker authorizes us to verify the identity of your patient Jane Smith and release her to her family if she is indeed Mary Thompson. The administrator read the document slowly. I'll need to call the director. You do that, Detective Wilson said firmly, but understand that obstructing this investigation could result in charges of accessory to kidnapping. The administrator's eyes widened. She picked up the phone and spoke quietly for several minutes. Finally, she hung up. The on-call doctor will meet you shortly, she said. Please wait here. 20 minutes later, a middle-aged doctor in a white coat appeared. I'm Dr. Chen. I understand you're inquiring about a patient? Detective Wilson explained the situation while Dr. Chen listened carefully. Jane Smith is indeed a patient here, Dr. Chen confirmed. She was admitted 6 months ago with paperwork signed by a Dr. Blackwood, diagnosed with delusional disorder and paranoia. That's Marcus, Robert said angrily. He was using fake credentials. Dr. Chen looked troubled. If that's true, it's extremely serious. The patient has been medicated according to Dr. Blackwood's instructions. Can we see her? Chloe asked, her voice small but determined. Dr. Chen hesitated, then nodded. Follow me. They walked down a long hallway with shiny floors and pale green walls. The twins held hands tightly, both scared and excited. Robert walked behind them, his footsteps unsteady. She's in room 216, Dr. Chen said, stopping outside a door. I should warn you, she's been on strong medication. She may seem confused or not recognize you immediately. Just open the door, Robert said. His voice breaking, Dr. Chen unlocked the door and opened it slowly. The room was small, with a single bed, a chair, and a small window. A thin woman with dull blonde hair sat on the edge of the bed, staring at nothing. The twins froze in the doorway. Their mother looked so different, thinner, her once bright hair limp, her face pale and drawn, but it was definitely her. Mom, Zoe whispered. Mary Thompson slowly turned toward the door. Her eyes, cloudy from medication, gradually focused on the two small figures. Recognition dawned on her face. My Christmas miracles, she whispered, her voice hoarse from disuse. She opened her arms weakly. The twins rushed forward, throwing themselves gently into their mother's embrace. Mary's arms trembled as she held them, tears streaming down her face. Chloe, Zoe, how did you find me? Robert stood in the doorway, his face a mask of grief and guilt. When Mary looked up and saw him, she stiffened slightly. Robert? He fell to his knees beside the bed. Mary, I'm so sorry. I had no idea. I thought you left us. I should have known better. I should have looked for you. "Serena said you wanted a divorce," Mary said, confusion clouding her face. "She showed me papers. Then she put something in my tea." Dr. Chen stepped forward. "I'd like to examine Mrs. Thompson now. I need to evaluate what medications she's been given." While the doctor examined Mary, Detective Wilson took Robert aside to explain the legal situation. The twins sat on the bed next to their mother, unwilling to let go of her hands. "You've grown so much," Mary said, touching Chloe's hair. 6 months. I've missed so much." "We missed you too," Zoe said. "We never believed you left us." "We knew you would never go without saying goodbye," Chloe added. Dr. Chen finished his examination and spoke quietly with Robert and Detective Wilson. The twins overheard fragments. "Unnecessarily sedated, should recover fully, and can be released once the paperwork is processed." Mary seemed to grow stronger by the minute, as if her family's presence was burning away the fog of medication. "How did you find me?" she asked again. The twins took turns explaining their investigation, finding the passport, discovering the forged note, overhearing Serena's phone calls, and finally finding the hidden phone and video. "You did all that?" Mary asked, amazement in her voice. "My brave, clever girls." "They saved all of us," Robert said, returning to Mary's bedside. "If they hadn't figured it out." Mary squeezed the twins' hands. "Tell me everything. What happened after I disappeared?" While Dr. Chen prepared release papers, the family filled Mary in on the events of the past 6 months. Mary listened with horror to the story of Serena's deception and their father's quick remarriage. "She had been watching our family for months," Mary explained. "When I discovered her criminal history of defrauding wealthy men, she threatened me. I started gathering evidence against her, but before I could show you, Robert, she drugged me. I woke up here, registered as Jane Smith, supposedly suffering from delusions. She's going to prison for a very long time," Detective Wilson assured them, "along with her brother." By 3 o'clock in the morning, officially Christmas Day, the discharge papers were finally ready. Dr. Chen provided a wheelchair for Mary, who was still weak from the medication. "The drugs will take time to leave your system completely," he explained. "You'll need follow-up care, but you should recover fully." As they wheeled Mary toward the exit, she insisted on standing to walk out on her own. "I'm leaving this place on my feet," she said firmly. The family stepped outside into the gentle snowfall. Mary looked up at the sky, taking deep breaths of fresh air. "It's Christmas," she said softly, "and your birthday." She turned to the twins with tears in her eyes. 8 years old today. "Best birthday present ever," Chloe said, hugging her mother's waist. Detective Wilson drove them home as dawn broke over Pinecrest. Mary sat in the back seat between her daughters, her arms around them. Though clearly exhausted and still affected by the medication, she refused to sleep, drinking in the sight of her children. "We have so much to catch up on," she said, touching Zoe's glasses. "When did you get these?" 2 months ago, Zoe answered. "Dad took us to the eye doctor." "And Chloe, you cut your hair." Chloe touched her shorter locks. "Mrs. Jenkins did it. We missed you so much, Mom." As they turned onto Oakwood Drive, they could see their house ahead. Christmas lights still twinkled on the trees outside, and a single figure stood waiting on the front steps. "Mrs. Jenkins!" the twins cried together. The faithful housekeeper rushed forward as the car stopped, tears streaming down her face. "Mary! Oh, thank God!" she exclaimed, embracing Mary as she carefully stepped out of the car. "I knew you would never leave these children." "Thank you for watching over them," Mary said, her voice breaking with emotion. Together they walked slowly into the house, a family reunited on Christmas morning. The wreckage of the interrupted party remained, half-empty glasses, abandoned coats, decorations dampened by sprinklers. None of it mattered. "Welcome home," Robert said softly to his wife. "We have a lot to fix," Mary replied, looking directly at him. "But we'll do it together." The twins exchanged triumphant smiles. Their investigation was over, Their family was whole again, and it was Christmas morning, their birthday. As Mary settled onto the living room sofa with her daughters pressed against her sides, she kissed each of their foreheads. "My Christmas miracles," she whispered. "You saved me." Christmas morning sunlight filtered through the living room windows as Mary Thompson sat surrounded by her family. Though exhausted from her ordeal, she refused to go to bed, afraid that she might wake up back in the hospital room. "I want to know everything I missed," Mary insisted, holding a cup of tea that Mrs. Jenkins had prepared. "Every detail." The twins sat on either side of their mother on the sofa, while Robert brought blankets to keep her warm. The medication was slowly wearing off, but Mary still trembled occasionally. "First, you need to eat something," Mrs. Jenkins said, bringing a tray of toast and eggs. "You're too thin, Mary." Detective Wilson had left an hour earlier after ensuring the family was settled. "I'll be back this afternoon," he had promised. "We need to take your official statement when you're feeling stronger." While Mary ate small bites of toast, Chloe recounted their investigation in excited detail. "Zoe figured out the handwriting on the note was fake," she explained, "and we found your passport in Dad's office. We knew you wouldn't leave without saying goodbye," Zoe added quietly. Mary touched her daughter's cheek. "You were right. I would never leave my Christmas miracles." Robert sat across from them, his face showing a mixture of guilt and relief. "Mary, I should have known something was wrong. I should have questioned your disappearance more. Instead, You believed what seemed obvious," Mary finished for him. "Serena planned everything carefully." "But I married her," Robert said, his voice breaking. "How can you ever forgive me for that?" Mary looked at him steadily. "We have a lot to talk about, Robert, but not today. Today is for healing and for celebrating our children's birthday." The phone rang and Mrs. Jenkins answered it in the kitchen. She returned, looking concerned. "That was Channel 7 News," she reported. "They want an interview about the Christmas Eve kidnapping rescue. The story is already spreading." "Tell them no comment," Robert said firmly. "The girls need privacy." Throughout the morning, more calls came, from newspapers, television stations, and friends who had been at the party. By noon, police cars were parked outside to keep reporters away from the house. Detective Wilson returned as promised, bringing news about Serena and Marcus. "They're both in custody," he told the family. "Marcus broke down completely and confessed everything. Serena is still denying it, but the evidence is overwhelming." "What charges are they facing?" Robert asked. "Kidnapping, fraud, attempted murder, unlawful imprisonment, and about a dozen other felonies," Detective Wilson replied. "They won't be free for a very long time." Mary's statement was recorded at the dining room table. She spoke clearly despite her fatigue, describing how Serena had approached her months before, threatening her when Mary discovered her criminal past. She and Marcus had targeted other wealthy families before, Mary explained. They would identify a husband with significant assets, create a situation where the wife was removed, and then Serena would move in and gain control of the finances. "How did you discover this?" Detective Wilson asked. "I found newspaper articles about a similar case in Boston," Mary said. "The wife in that case disappeared under mysterious circumstances, and the husband married a woman matching Serena's description 3 months later. He died in an accident shortly after." The twins listened from the doorway, finally understanding the full scope of Serena's plan. "She was going to kill Dad after she got control of his money," Chloe whispered to her sister, "and send us away so we couldn't tell anyone," Zoe added. After Detective Wilson left, a doctor arrived to examine Mary. He confirmed what Dr. Chen had said at the hospital. The medications would take time to leave her system completely, but she would recover fully with proper care. "You'll need rest, good nutrition, and regular checkups," the doctor advised. "And I recommend therapy to process the trauma of what happened." "We'll all need therapy," Robert acknowledged, "as a family." As evening approached, the twins became concerned about their mother's tired appearance. "You should sleep, Mom," Zoe suggested. Mary hesitated. I'm afraid to close my eyes." "We'll stay with you," Chloe promised. Mrs. Jenkins had prepared the master bedroom, removing all traces of Serena. "I burned her fancy pillows in the fireplace," she confided to the twins with satisfaction. The family settled Mary into bed, with the twins insisting on staying beside her. Robert stood awkwardly in the doorway. "I'll sleep in the guest room," he said. "You call if you need anything." As darkness fell on their extraordinary Christmas day, Mary hugged her daughters close. "We didn't have time for birthday celebrations or presents," she said sadly. "Having you back is the only present we wanted," Zoe assured her. "But we do have one birthday tradition we need to keep," Chloe reminded them. "Remember how we always make a special wish at midnight?" Mary smiled. "What would you wish for now? You already found me." The twins exchanged glances. "We wish for our family to heal," they said together. "That's my wish too," Mary whispered as she drifted to sleep with her daughters beside her. In the days that followed, the Thompson family began the difficult process of rebuilding their lives. Robert took an immediate leave of absence from Morgan Stanley to focus on his family. Mrs. Jenkins moved into the guest room to help care for Mary and provide extra security for the twins, who were still frightened Serena might somehow return. The story made headlines across the country. Twin detectives rescue mother from fake psychiatric commitment. The case prompted investigations into several psychiatric facilities and led to calls for stricter verification procedures for patient commitments. 1 week after Christmas, Chloe had an idea. "We should start a video blog," she told Zoe. "We could call it Twin Detectives and help other kids who think something is wrong in their family. We could teach them how to look for clues and trust their instincts," Zoe agreed. Mary, growing stronger each day, supported the idea. "You girls showed incredible bravery and intelligence. You could help other children." "Are you sure you want public attention?" Robert asked worriedly. "Keeping secrets didn't help our family," Zoe pointed out. "Maybe being open about what happened will." With Mary's supervision, the twins recorded their first video, simply telling their story in their own words. They uploaded it with a message for other children. "If something feels wrong, keep asking questions. Trust what you know about your family." The video received thousands of views in its first day online. Messages poured in from children and parents alike, thanking the twins for their courage. As January began, Mary was strong enough to take short walks around the neighborhood with the twins. People stopped to welcome her home and express support. "Everyone knows our story now," Chloe observed as they walked. "Does that bother you?" Mary asked. Zoe shook her head. "I'm glad people know the truth." One evening, as the family sat around the dinner table, a new table, as Robert had removed all furniture Serena had selected, Mary proposed a new tradition. "I think we should each share one thing we're grateful for and one truth we've learned," she suggested, "to help us heal and stay connected." Robert went first. "I'm grateful for second chances," he said, "and I've learned that what looks perfect on the outside can be rotten inside." "I'm grateful for Mrs. Jenkins," Chloe said, "and I learned that being brave doesn't mean you're not scared. It means you do what's right even when you are scared." Zoe thought carefully. "I'm grateful for my sister always believing in me, and I learned that sometimes the quiet people notice the most important things." Mary looked at her family with tears in her eyes. "I'm grateful for my children's determination to find the truth, and I've learned that love is stronger than deception." 2 weeks later, they all attended the preliminary hearing for Serena and Marcus. The courtroom was packed with reporters and curious onlookers. The twins held their mother's hands tightly as they watched Serena enter in handcuffs, her perfect appearance now disheveled. "She doesn't look scary anymore," Chloe whispered, "because now everyone can see who she really is," Zoe replied. That night, after the twins were asleep, Mary and Robert sat in the living room talking openly for the first time about the future. "The divorce papers are ready whenever you want them," Robert said. "I'll give you whatever you need to start over." Mary looked at her husband of 10 years. "Is that what you want?" To end our marriage? I want whatever will make you happy, Robert answered honestly. I failed you in the worst possible way. We both have healing to do, Mary said, but I'm not ready to give up on us. The girls need both of us. I don't deserve a second chance, Robert admitted. Maybe not, Mary agreed, but our family deserves the chance to heal together. As winter turned slowly towards spring, the Thompson family began building a new life based on honesty and vigilance. The twins' video blog grew into a popular resource for children facing family challenges. Mary started a foundation to help victims of fraud and abuse. Robert worked with lawmakers to strengthen psychiatric commitment laws, and every night they continued their new tradition, sharing gratitudes and truths, reminding each other that in a world where appearances can deceive, their family would always stand for what was real and true. Spring arrived in Pinecrest, bringing green leaves to the trees and colorful flowers to the gardens along Oakwood Drive. 3 months had passed since the Christmas Eve rescue of Mary Thompson, and the Thompson family was slowly establishing a new normal. One sunny Saturday morning, the twins sat at the dining room table with their laptop, recording their weekly video for their Twin Detectives channel. Today we're going to talk about trusting your instincts, Chloe said, speaking confidently to the camera. Sometimes adults don't believe kids when we say something feels wrong. Zoe nodded, adjusting her glasses. Like when we tried to tell our dad about Serena, but he wouldn't listen. That doesn't mean you should stop trying. Mary watched from the doorway, smiling at her daughter's growing confidence. Her health had improved significantly. Her hair was shiny again, she had regained weight, and the cloudy look in her eyes from the medications was gone. That's enough filming for today, Mary said, entering the room. Remember, we're visiting the foundation office this afternoon. The Mary Thompson Foundation for Family Protection had been established with help from several of Robert's colleagues at Morgan Stanley. Its mission was to support families affected by fraud and deception, with special focus on helping children. Can we bring our camera? Chloe asked. We want to show our viewers the new office. As long as you don't film any of the families seeking help, Mary reminded them. Their privacy is important. Robert entered, carrying a tray of sandwiches for lunch. His efforts to rebuild trust with his family were constant and sincere. He had sold the house where they had lived with Serena and moved the family to a comfortable new home just 3 blocks away. I just got a call from Detective Wilson, he announced. The trial date is set for next month, June 15th. The family fell silent. Despite all their progress, the upcoming trial of Serena and Marcus Blackwood loomed over them. Will we have to testify? Zoe asked quietly. The prosecutor thinks your video evidence is strong enough, Robert explained gently. But you might need to answer some questions. We're not afraid of Serena anymore, Chloe declared, though her voice wavered slightly. Mary reached for her daughter's hands. It's okay to be nervous, but remember, she can't hurt our family now. After lunch, the family drove to the foundation's new office in downtown Pinecrest. The small building had previously been a law firm, and volunteers were helping to transform it into a welcoming space for families in crisis. Mrs. Jenkins greeted them at the door. She had become the foundation's first employee, serving as office manager while continuing to live with the Thompson family. The new furniture arrived this morning, she reported, and we've had 3 calls already from families seeking help. Inside, workers were setting up computers and arranging desks. The main room featured a colorful children's area with books and toys, designed by the twins to make young visitors feel comfortable. This place looks amazing, Mary said, surveying the space with satisfaction. A young volunteer approached them hesitantly. Mrs. Thompson, there's a woman here who really wants to meet you and the girls. She says her husband disappeared under suspicious circumstances 3 years ago. Mary exchanged glances with Robert. This could be another of Serena's victims. The woman, introduced as Lisa Martinez, sat nervously in the small conference room. When the twins entered with their parents, her eyes widened. You're the twin detectives, she said. I watched your videos. That's how I found the courage to come forward. Lisa's story was painfully familiar. Her husband, a successful restaurant owner in Hartford, Connecticut, had supposedly left her for another woman. 6 months later, he died in a boating accident, leaving everything to his new wife, a woman named Sarah Blake. "I have a picture," Lisa said, sliding a photo across the table. "This was taken at a charity event a month before my husband disappeared." The woman in the photo was unmistakably Serena, though her hair was darker and styled differently. "That's her," Chloe confirmed. "That's definitely Serena." "We need to call Detective Wilson," Robert said, reaching for his phone. That evening, as they drove home, the twins were unusually quiet. "What's on your minds?" Mary asked, turning from the front passenger seat to look at them. "How many other families did Serena hurt?" Zoe asked. "How many other kids lost their parents?" "That's why our foundation is so important," Mary explained, "to help those families and make sure this doesn't happen to others." "But how did we let her fool us?" Robert added, his hands tightening on the steering wheel. "I was so blind." Back at home, the family gathered in the living room for their nightly tradition of sharing gratitudes and truths. "I'm grateful for Lisa Martinez coming forward," Mary began, "and the truth I've learned is that helping others heal helps us heal too." "I'm grateful for our new home," Robert said, "and I've learned that trust must be earned every day." Chloe went next. "I'm grateful for our video channel reaching so many kids, and I've learned that telling our story makes it less scary." "I'm grateful for Detective Wilson still helping us," Zoe said, "and I've learned that sometimes solving one mystery reveals many more." The next morning, Detective Wilson visited with news about Lisa Martinez's case. "We've reopened the investigation into her husband's death," he explained, sitting at the kitchen table with the family. "The Hartford police are examining evidence that was overlooked at the time." "Do you think Serena, or Sarah Blake, was responsible for his death?" Robert asked. "We believe she and Marcus have been running this scheme for at least 6 years," Detective Wilson confirmed. "We've identified 4 potential victims so far." The twins listened intently as the adults discussed the expanding case. When Detective Wilson prepared to leave, he turned to the girls. "I have something for you too," he said, reaching into his jacket pocket. He pulled out 2 small badges. "These are honorary detective badges from the Pinecrest Police Department. Chief Henderson wanted you to have them for your courage and investigative skills." The twins accepted the badges with wide eyes. "Real detective badges?" Chloe asked in awe. "Honorary ones," Detective Wilson corrected with a smile, "but well-deserved." After he left, the twins rushed to their room to show the badges to their online audience. Their Twin Detectives channel now had over 20,000 followers. "Today we want to talk about something important," Zoe said to the camera. "Sometimes solving one mystery leads to discovering others. Like how finding our mom helped another family who lost someone to the same bad person," Chloe added. "That's why you should never give up." That afternoon, Mary received a phone call that made her smile wider than she had in months. "That was my doctor," she told the family during dinner. "All traces of the medications they gave me at Pine Valley are finally out of my system. I'm completely clear." Robert raised his water glass, "To Mary's health and our family's strength." The twins clinked their glasses against their parents. The family wasn't fully healed. There were still difficult moments, nightmares, and trust issues to work through, but they were facing everything together. Later that week, the twins had an important question for their parents. "Can we visit Pine Valley Psychiatric Hospital?" Zoe asked during breakfast. Mary looked startled. "Why would you want to go back there?" "Because we want to make sure no one else is being held there like you were," Chloe explained. "What if there are other people who were put there by bad people?" Robert and Mary exchanged glances. "That's actually a good point," Robert acknowledged. The investigation focused on Serena and Marcus, not on potential problems at the hospital. "I'll talk to Detective Wilson about organizing an official review of their admission records," Mary promised. That night, as Mary tucked the twins into bed, she sat on the edge of Zoe's bed. "I'm so proud of you both," she said softly, "not just for saving me, but for wanting to help others." "We learned it from you," Zoe replied sleepily. "Will things ever feel completely normal again?" Chloe asked from her bed. Mary smoothed her daughter's hair. "We're creating a new normal, one that's built on truth and watching out for each other." As she turned out the light, Mary looked at her daughters, her Christmas miracles who had become heroes in their own right. Their family had been broken and put back together, stronger in the repaired places. The road ahead would still have challenges, but they would face them together, with eyes wide open and the truth as their guide. If you enjoyed today's video, I'm sure you'll love the next one. Don't waste time. Just click on the screen